What up, what up, what up? Serial Assassin here, and I got another gameplay and commentary for y'all. Alright, so gameplay in the background is a free-for-all, and it's Resistance, Dizzy Duzzy D. And I was just running around with the ump and on Xbox, and unfortunately, you don't get to see the final score because after I won, somebody rage quit. Aww. So, the topic of my commentary today is, I guess, part 2 of the series I did. The first one was Bad Father versus Absent Father. I'll leave a link to that, and surprisingly, I got some good reviews on it. It was one of those personal things that was just, running through my head that day, going back to custody court, and you start thinking about these things and, how they affect your life. So today I want to talk about another topic that is very similar and is sort of, again, personal. And again, I'm going to try to keep this not so much about my interactions, but more generalized. A lot of kids, parents fight. And it's very traumatic for the children, and it makes it hard on them. And I don't care how mature you are as a child, whether you're 3, 10, 15. I mean, you don't fully grasp exactly why your parents fight all the time, if they do. And especially when you get into separation, divorce cases, they tend to argue a little bit more and a little more in visible circumstances. So usually when the parents are together, they try to keep their disagreements behind closed doors and leave the children out of it because, they're still together, they're still working on things, and it's the right thing to do. But once parents aren't together anymore, that discretion sort of goes out the door more times than not. And kids really don't fully grasp it because, from their point of view, it's every time they're together, they fight, or every time they talk, they fight. And the reason that is because usually that's the only time they talk to each other. So it does seem like all the time, and it's understandable. But, when parents are together, it's a fine line, especially when kids are involved and the daily frustrations of life, money, food, mortgage, all that stuff. And plus, the kids, they're frustrating. And I don't care how good you are, there's frustrations. And you couple that with everything else and going on in your parents' life, parents tend to snap, parents tend to disagree. And I guess the biggest thing is like I said, when they're together, they try to do it behind closed doors, and when they're not together, it's sort of all the time. But I just know that parenting styles differ. You have two people that grow up differently. The way they saw parenting done to them, it usually affects how they raise their children, and the chances of two parents having the same type of upbringing and parenting styles is rare. So there's going to be disagreements. There's going to be those fine lines where they don't agree, and when they're together, they try to work it out, and when they're not together, they tend to be more vocal and standing firm on their side of the line. And the biggest thing is compromise, and that's the big C word that you don't hear very often when parents fight. It's usually the other one, but it's tough because each parent thinks their way is the right way, and it's kind of hard to come to that compromise that we got to meet in the middle. So that tends to be the main disagreement. It's either that or money, and that's probably 95% of it, unless there's a little resentment left behind between the reason the parents split, and that will come up from time to time, even though it's irrelevant anymore. So, next time, your parents are arguing, just try to take a step back and understand that, it's their coping mechanism. It's, they're both trying to do what's best for you. And I say that knowing that, that should be the case most times not. It may not be it may not be reality, but the majority of the time, they're trying to put your interests first. And, you may see it as just another stupid fight, but it's them trying to find out what's best for you, and that's hard for children. It's equally hard on parents. So you got to understand that, and just take a back seat. Try not to get too involved. let your parents handle it. You may see it a little more rational that, this one's being stupid or this one's being stubborn, but just step back and let your parents handle it. Try to stay out of the equation, because parents are frustrated enough dealing with each other, trying to work things out in the situation they're in. They don't need their children trying to get involved, because that just complicates matters, and it makes things worse. Because so on top of everything else, now it's you're trying to manipulate so and so to say this, and that's not fair. Keep them out of it. It just adds another layer to the argument. So the best thing for you guys out there, if you are dealing with this situation, is to just let your parents handle it. I'm sure they both love you very much, and they're trying to put your interest first. So just keep going the way you're going. Act as each parent is perfect, and love them. So, and try to stay out of their arguments. So it's the best advice I can give to anybody. My kids are very mature for their age, and there's a lot of times that me and their mother may get into a disagreement, and they may catch wind of it either while we're discussing it or after the fact, and they want to stick their 2 cents in, and they don't know all the facts, and they don't have all the relevant information to make a valid interjection to our dispute. So I try to tell them, like, look, it's an adult conversation. Just me and your mother would deal with it. The bottom line is your mom loves you, I love you, and we're trying to put your interests first. So sometimes that's difficult and they don't accept it, but it's the reality of things. So with everything said and done, me and their mother, we don't have the best relationship, but at the end of the day, we both love our boys, and we do what's best for them. So that's all we can do. At this point of our life, that's all we can do. So that's what we try to do. And sometimes my boys just don't understand. So, and I don't expect them to. Until they're married and have kids, and God help it, if they get in the same situation, they're really not going to fully understand. Experience teaches some of the hardest lessons in life. And I hope to God my kids don't have to deal with that. But nowadays, with the divorce rate around 60%, it's bound to happen. Marriage just is not the institution it used to be. You're hard pressed to find couples that have been together 20 years, let alone 50, where 30 years ago it was a common occurrence. People were high school sweethearts, got married out of school, and they're still together, 60 years later, God willing, they both survive. That just doesn't happen anymore. People get married for the wrong reasons. I know I did. But that seems to be a trend. People get married for the wrong reasons, and then, 10 years later, 15 years later, whatever, they look at each other and they're like, why did I do this? How did I get here? And that's just the harsh reality of things. So, just keep this in mind. If you decide that, the person you're with is the one you want to spend the rest of your life with, the biggest thing I could say is make sure you're friends with that person. Make sure you have a solid friendship, because I know my current relationship, I'm my fiance is my best friend, and I tell her everything. I'm open and honest about everything, and I share everything. So there's no surprises. There's no lack of trust. It's a great relationship. So that's the biggest key. And, despite all the other things that make you want to think that it'll work or whatever, the biggest thing you need to be is friends, if not best friends. So, all right. So I think my rant is over, but I hope you guys enjoyed. I don't think I'll be doing any of these anytime soon, but just had to get this one and the other one off my chest. So below, you'll find a couple of videos you may enjoy as well. Feel free to click. Feel free to subscribe if you're not already subscribed. And God willing, click that like button, because if you're still listening, I probably deserve it. All right, thank you. I'm out. Peace.